give peace a chance. John Lennon sang these words that represented an epic pacifist movement, one that continues to endure through the decades. And Mahatma Gandhi is lauded as one of the most virtuous men to have lived in the modern world, preaching nonviolence and amity to all. Hundreds of men and women over the centuries, across the globe, have articulated the colossal merits of peace. And yet, observe the timeline of the last century. From the 1904 Russo-Japanese War, to the Russian, Spanish, and Chinese civil wars, to the Second World War and the Holocaust, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, the Darfur genocide, and finally, in the dawn of the 21st century, the wars, our wars, in the Middle East. When you really look at the focus of history, you can see how we have defined ourselves as a race. Every day we see the pain and suffering brought by war on our televisions, in our newspapers. We in fact are lucky we do not see it on our streets. Why? Why is humanity so volatile, so vituperative as to ignore the explicit warnings of Lenin and Gandhi and so many others like them? Why do we continue to fight, to murder our fellow men, to bury the innocent? Why do we scorn peace? To demonstrate the value of peace in humanity, let's apply the four-way test. First, will it be beneficial to all concerned? The answer is absolutely. Imagine a world of uninhibited, amicable international trade, where we would not have to trade blood for oil. Imagine a world where no child would pass bodies in the streets, or fear for his life while walking to a neighbor's. Imagine not having to live under the perpetual threat of nuclear winter. And imagine never again worrying that your friend, your loved one, or you will be called to the draft. My father has told me about how, when he was growing up during the Vietnam War, he would just stop and wonder, when he grew up, in which war would he be fighting? And when I was born, he asked, what would be the war of my generation? My mother worried of the draft, for though our society, maybe even one of you, experienced the pain of forcing sons, brothers, and husbands to war, we have never dealt with coercing our daughters into combat. It seems that even through vast changes in society and technology, each generation has one thing in common. Each is defined by its battles. The thing is, war and violence are never beneficial to all. They are not but temporary patches for the roots of the matters we face. True peace would be a panacea for murder, genocide, and bloodshed. Second, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Undoubtedly. In a world of peace, people would be able to simply coexist, to solve problems without guns and knives. Not to say that society would be devoid of conflict, but rather that neither war nor violence would be an option to resolve the disputes. With the eradication of hate crimes and violence, one can focus passively on an issue and learn to accept another's culture. Once this barrier is overcome, doors are opened and possibilities abound. Within the Islamic culture, the common greeting and farewell is Assalamu alaikum, and in Israel, Shalom, both meaning peace be with you. The very nature of this salutation has so much more gravity and genuine goodwill than our simple goodbye. If we adopted this phrase as a parting remark and expanded it to encompass all religions and cultures, we would be constantly reminded of what it means to care for one another, to accept others despite our differences. Perhaps we would find allies where we never would have thought to look. Third, is it fair to all concerned? Yes. There is no reason that humans cannot coexist peacefully. We do it every day in our personal lives and within our own boundaries. Why is it so fantastic to imagine a world without borders? We could potentially eradicate poverty by distributing the wealth of the earth far more equally than it is currently. and thus we could eliminate the reasons for people fighting over food, or goods, or energy. We can all agree that human rights are not defined by invisible lines on the globe. My sister has, for the past 2 summers, attended the Children's International Summer Villages in Pennsylvania and Texas, where she befriended peers from Israel, India, France, Mexico, and many other countries. The philosophy of the organization is to negate any stereotypes associated with citizens of foreign countries, to create more of a sense of world unity. My sister came away from her experiences with a new view of the world and the people around her. She learned the importance of looking past another's citizenship, wealth, and religion. She learned what so many of us have yet to discover. Finally, is it the truth? Well, the truth is that, to quote John F. Kennedy, mankind must put an end to war, or war will put an end to mankind. It is true that someone will have to take the first step and end the historical cycle, put a stop to the perpetual retribution. It will not be easy, for it will require a reversal of human philosophy of mass conflict. This feat may not even be possible, for our race may already be too far lost to this hostile temperament. However, as individuals, we can still claim virtue, and we can each improve upon ourselves. Start simply with our thoughts and actions to transform into peaceful men and women. For if humanity is to progress, we must heed the warnings of Lenin, Kennedy, and Gandhi, men inspired by the vision of humanity evolving towards a world of peace and harmony. We may ignore them at our own risk.